Hey, I'm Hunt, and this is Hunt on LSU, your channel for LSU Fighting Tiger football talk. Enjoy the video. We want you to leave a comment below, hit that like button, and subscribe right below the video. Enjoy. Shea Dixon from On3, part of the Bengal Tiger team. It's on the Jim's Firearms Hotline. Shea D, how are you?
I'm doing well. How are you, Hunt?
I'm good. News breaking today that there's been a little bit more trickling out of the LSU football program via the transfer portal. Jeremiah Hughes, Ryan Yates, Christian Brathwaite been announced today. Any of those surprises to you?
Yeah, I want to go back for a second to what you said that you're good. For those that don't know, Hunt writes a column on 3 in the Bengal Tiger each week. Around the Horn, very popular, one of our most read every week. Did it all last year. They won a national
Yeah.
championship every Monday. His thoughts on baseball, and he shares them right here on radio every week. It's kind of just a shortened version of that. You have not seemed happy, Hunt. So what's
No,
up with the I'm good? You good? You're good.
look, I'm being positive today. It was the open of my show. I'm saying we're LSU. I have a big ego. We're the national champs, and you're Mizzou, and you suck. So we're going to go up there and win. That's what I'm sticking
All right.
to today. Now, how I feel on Monday on Around the Horn, and then here, that time remains to tell. But right now, I'm good.
All right, I can live with that. All right, let's carry on. Let's
Hughes,
get to the
Yates,
portal
Brathwaite.
football.
What do you think?
I'm not surprised. And look, this is one of those things. All three of these guys were 2023 signees. So obviously spent a year with the program. And when you go through spring ball and you get a feel for where you're at on the depth chart, that's where you kind of have to make a decision. And I think that early on we saw Ryan Yates, for instance. He played a good bit last year, more than 100 snaps on defense at safety. But Major Burns and Andre Sam, they played more than 700 snaps at safety. So he was the backup, but it was the only guy they had there until Kylan Jackson at the end of the year and Jordan Allen start playing more. And now we saw with this new defense and that star look that Major Burns playing closer to the line of scrimmage, that Kylan Jackson had sort of moved ahead of Yates there. And then there's the search for corners, and we looked at practices, and Hughes wasn't in that too deep consistently. And the same for these other guys who have entered. Braithwaite was repping on third team, obviously because you've got the Weeks brothers on second team. You've got Perkins and Greg Penn back as your first team linebackers. So whether it's these guys or the others, Gilbreth as a backup tight end in short yardage, Preon, who didn't play any games. I'm not sure if he wasn't just banged up last year, but didn't play any as a true freshman, took a red shirt. He hit with a no contact tag. He'll be at Tulane this weekend. So that could actually be a huge ad for the Green Wave if they're able to get him on board. And then Jackson Howard heads back to Minnesota, number one player out of Minnesota, signed him. Good player, right? I mean, the son of a former NFL player. But the reality is, in the portal era, when you sign a kid from that far away, that if he's not going to be starting or playing a ton in year one or two, which at this point they've got a lot of guys at edge or D end or kind of wherever you think he fits best, that it's not surprising that he goes home. And within a couple of days of him announcing that he had hit the portal, or at least officially in the portal, he lands with Minnesota, so he's back in his home state. But to recap me rambling, it's a lot of guys who say, hey, look, this is where I'm at on the depth chart, and natural attrition occurs. This is what the portal should really be for, is giving guys a chance to either get back closer to home or maybe most importantly, get a path to playing time.
You mentioned my Around the Horn column that goes up on Mondays. Well, on your message board that you've got consistently running, pinned at the top there is the transfer tracker and the scholarship tracker. So where is LSU in relation to the 85 scholarships? We know they're going to add here at some point. Are they in a position to do that yet?
Yeah, so they are. This is the first time they have been under the 85-man limit this offseason. Through the portal, they're now at 20 guys between the first and second window who've gone into the portal. They've added 6 in the first window, and then Gio Paez, the defensive tackle out of Wisconsin. So 13 net there out of the portal, and obviously you had attrition with guys leaving for the draft or graduating, and then you signed 20, however many, high school guys. But now all those numbers add up to this. You're at 83 scholarship guys of who is announced, right, that they're in the portal or beneficially in the portal. 85 is the limit you have to get to by fall camp. So you can operate around that during the off season. But 2 under right now, I expect more guys will hit the portal. And then at the same time, I expect them to add a number of guys here during the spring portal window. So They are safely under it now, but they'll continue to see that number drop a bit, which just gives them more room to say, hey, here's where we need to add guys. And I think Brian Kelly made it pretty clear that his main focus is defensive tackle.
Let's talk about defensive tackle. They've got a visit that's already occurred, and then there are some visits that they're setting up with some guys from across the country. What can you tell us?
Yeah, Gio Paez, again, out of Wisconsin, was their first commit. And then Philip Blitty, who had played at Texas Tech, then Indiana is where he's transferring from, took a visit to Washington at D-tackle, took a visit to Washington, LSU. Then he was at Auburn on Monday. And soon after leaving, meeting with old Hugh Freeze, he says, I'm no longer visiting Oklahoma this weekend. I may not even visit Missouri anymore. The Auburn people are saying, hey, look, sources are saying that Auburn made some headway here. So if Auburn does land Blitty, where does LSU go from there? Well, they made quick work of the guys who entered the portal this week, which opened on Tuesday, Hunt. And the three biggest names, I would say, defensive tackle that entered are Michigan State's Simeon Barrow Jr., Kent State's C.J. West, and TCU's Damonic Williams. All three now have locked in LSU visits, and I'll run through them. Barrow's coming from Michigan State. He'll be here this weekend on Sunday, but he's got 30 career starts, over 100 career tackles. Then you got a guy out of C.J. West out of Kent State. I know you hear Kent State doesn't sound great. Well, Albany probably didn't sound great to some FSU fans, but they felt pretty good about getting old Jared Verse on their team for a couple of years. But West is coming from the Golden Flashes. Numbers look a lot like Barrow's coming out of Michigan State. I mean, he has played for 4 years, has over 100 career tackles, has right at 20 tackles for loss. It's almost hitting double-digit sacks, played in more than 30 games. So you kind of are starting to see a trend with those two of like Paez, a veteran, someone. Now with these two are bringing in a lot of production. Kent State will, West will visit next week. Matt Zennett's put that news out first, but I've got that confirmed as well, that they'll lock in a visit for one day next week, and he'll be on LSU's campus. And then Hunt the third, Damonic Williams, coming out of TCU. He's on the younger end, and he wasn't a highly touted guy coming out of high school. He was viewed as a nose tackle, but started all 15 games of TCU's national championship run to the game in 2022. Started every game for him this past year. I think he had 30-plus tackles, had some sacks, had some tackles for loss, and was all Big 12 honorable mention and Big 12 Defensive Lineman of the Year honorable mention. He's going to visit April 30th to May 1st. He's also got OU, Texas, Colorado, and their visit set. So all of these guys, as I said, with like C.J. West coming out of Kent State, the visit date has not been locked in next week because he's got so many teams that are after him trying to say, all right, which day will you get to campus? So I think geographically he's trying to figure out, all right, I go here, then there, then there, then there, and then back home, and that makes sense. So good on LSU, though. This is what you wanted to see, right? You wanted to see the staff, Bo Davis, the personnel department, and Brian Kelly, everybody go after the one position we knew they needed to go find players at because they only returned 2 scholarship defensive tackles from last year in Guillory and Lee, and Guillory has made 3 starts, and those would be the only 3 starts you're getting out of the group.
No doubt. And I'm curious because we all kind of know how the recruiting thing works when you're in high school with official visits and unofficials, but like who's paying for all these visits? Do you have to do that on your own dime when you're a junior in college?
No, you can take this. You can have an allotment of visits that you go and make and, get set up with. And like a lot of these guys do it that way. And I think a lot of people thought that transfers would be like, I'm transferring, I'll visit 50 schools. What we've seen is that a lot of these guys just visit 1, 2, 3, and then say, you know what, I'm done. I found it. I'm shutting it down. Paez said, look, I got calls from all kind of schools. Set LSU up with my first visit, went, didn't need to see anything else. I'm in and committed. So these guys have not really stretched it out as much as maybe a high school prospect would when you have a lot more time. These transfers know, hey, look, I want to go ahead and get on board with somebody so that I've got my spot and I can go ahead and then start to kind of transfer over of working on my credits, getting everything ready for arriving in the summer.
So last thing here, Shea, we appreciate your time on a Friday. Certainly wouldn't ask for names here because that's not really fair, but position groups that you may see some attrition from from LSU.
I'd say that you'd look at the rooms that are the deepest, right? DB has more than 20 guys in it combined between safety, corner, and that star position. And I know that that's a spot where they have to find guys, and order out kind of who they really like. But I wouldn't be shocked if maybe another guy entered. Receiver the same. Both those positions have had some guys that have been injured for a couple of years in a row, so you sort of keep an eye on that. One thing that's weird to me, though, Hunt, is that not long in that same press conference where Brian Kelly said, we're just going to focus on D tackles, he wasn't very pleased with the punting, and he made it very clear, and then said, I want to see competition there. So do you go out and maybe entertain a punter? I don't know. We haven't seen Peyton Todd in live action. He's been on the team a number of years now, but Aaron Burrell comes to campus out of Parkway, your neck of the woods up there,
Yep.
But number 2 kicker in the country. But you're not tossing a true freshman into that mix, are you? I don't think. So I'm curious what happens there, and then maybe what happens with LSU special teams room, considered they have 5 specialists on scholarship right now, 3 of which are kickers, and not many people carry that many kickers. So it's kind of the areas I'm watching: DB, receiver, special teams.
Shea, have an awesome weekend. I hope I send you a happy column on Monday.
I'll be waiting for it.
He's Shea Dixon over there from the Bengal Tiger, part of the On3 crew. If you're looking for transfer portal news, recruiting news. Hey, thanks for watching Hunt on LSU. Before you get out of here, do us a couple of favors. Hit that like button, leave your comments below, and subscribe to the channel for all your Fighting Tiger football talk. See you next time.